them.
The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown, Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark. Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off. Let's go.
All right. We are live, as always, on Fridays at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time on YouTube. This is Two Fat Guys Pool List, episode 40. My mic is on. I see desktop audio. I think we're good.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I guess we're going to find out. But I do see desktop audio live, so last week we had, my eyes, an issue with that. But I think we're good now. So, as we always do, we're going to take care of some business prior to starting, bless you, this episode. And first off, we're going to talk about our Two Fat Guys Pool List Mystery Pool monthly comic subscription service, sponsored by Collected Comics and Games and BrainyComics.com. So, we do have a subscription service box like a lot of other channels. You know, we want to support Collected. That's how we do this. We don't really, but we just want to support Ron over at his store. So this is how we do it, outside of talking about his store and our show. What this is a subscription service that you get every month. You get one store exclusive, 4 to 7 back issues, comprising anything between bronze, silver, and modern age books, and then a chance to win a big key book. This all costs $40 plus shipping. It is U.S. only, unfortunately. So if you live in Europe or anywhere outside of the States, just too much. But that being said, the store exclusive
Is that your
we're
attempt at an Italian accent?
I don't know what that was. It was Europe. What's up, Jaden? The store exclusive that we'll be giving out, or I always say we. When I say we, I mean Ron. Ron will be giving out a Detective Comics _1 exclusive variant by Nick Robles.
Robles, yeah.
Robles. I did not pick up this cover. I picked up cover A, but when he showed us this is what we're giving away in May, or what everybody's going to get in May, it's like, dude, this cover fucking rocks. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Oops.
So
everybody.
I missed out on this book. I didn't read it, so now I'm just going to have to pick this one up for sure. Now that it's a great cover and you said it was a good book.
It is a good book. I mean, Batman literally punches a ghost in the chest. Like, he goes to England prepared to punch ghosts. But yes, if you want to see me holding a physical copy, this is what it looks like in my hands. This is the book that everybody will get in their Two Fat Guys Pool List mystery box pool. Blah, 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 blah. Now, to what everybody really wants to know. The key that we're giving away. So last month, we didn't really give away a key. We gave away a custom cover that Ron had done, the homage to the first appearance of Punisher. This month, for the month of May, we are giving away Amazing Spider-Man 252, the first appearance of the symbiote Spider-Man suit in Amazing Spider-Man. Ooh, it's a big one.
Oh boy.
Now, this isn't a pristine copy. This isn't a 9.8. This isn't even a 9. It's got some wear and tear on it. But we're still giving away this awesome key. So, it presents really well too. I would say, looking at it today, I would say it's probably a 5.0, but it presents very nicely. Very nicely. So, like we said, if you are currently subscribed or want to subscribe, just go to BrainyComics.com and look for the Two Fat Guys Pool List Mystery Pool tab, and you can sign up today. So this is the month of May, so you have until the end of May to actually sign up for this box and to enter to win this bad boy. Also, you will be getting a custom Two Fat Guys Pull List mystery pull box that Ron and I and Nate, all of us worked on to get put together so that everybody gets not just a generic mailer box. You actually get our faces on a box. So our logo is on the box. It's got a bunch of cool stuff on it. It'll be part of the Fatty Army, if you want to call it that. And so that is the business for that. And then we also have to talk about our giveaway. So currently we have a giveaway going on. We are giving away comic book slabs at milestones. So the first one was at 100, and now we're trying to hit 250 subscribers. If we hit 250 subscribers, we will be giving away this 9.8 CGC graded Batman Who Laughs #1, a Dark Knight metal tie-in. It's a sick cover. It's a hollow cover, a foil cover. And yeah, like we're going to give it away. So when we hit 250 subscribers, we're giving this bad boy away. So make sure that you're subscribed, hit that bell, give us a like on this stream. It would greatly appreciate it. Make sure to comment in the chat. We want to hear from you. We want to have an open dialogue during the show. So if we missed something or we didn't need to clarify on something, or you just want to say hi, make sure, just like Jaden did, comment in the chat, talk to us. We want to talk to you. We want to build this community. So again, 250 subscribers, we're giving away that slab. Yeah. That's it. That is the business as usual when we start an episode. So let's get into the books. This was a beefy week.
Yeah, so beefy that we're going to be introducing a new segment to the list, which for our sanities and our butts sanities, sitting in these chairs so long, we're adding a segment called Honorable Mentions.
Honorable Mentions. We probably should have.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say we probably should have installed this segment 2 weeks ago when we had 26 books.
Yes. Yeah. So these aren't books that aren't necessarily these are books that are bad. We just don't want to cover them. Mm-hmm. It's just that books that maybe we don't have as much to contribute for, or they're just quick and easy, something to say, hey, we read this, we liked it, it was an unexpected pickup. Mm-hmm. Grab it.
Yep, for sure. So that will be about halfway through our show. So first off, we're going to kick the show off with Jason Aaron's Heroes Reborn #1. I was not expecting the reaction to this book amongst the community. No. And it was a very surprising book. I think both of us went into this event, this book, thinking extremely low expectations, because Jason Aaron's Avengers run has just gone downhill, I would say, in the sense of pacing and just connectivity. And this felt like the earlier half of Jason Aaron's Avengers run.
Yeah, it did. I honestly was very, very hesitant on this book. Mm-hmm. I read it at 3 or 4 o'clock today because I was just I don't want to read it. and for some reason, everyone saying it was good just irritated me more, because I'm glad we got it. I'm glad it's here, and I'm glad it's good. But it just makes me sad that the past 15 issues or so of Jason Aaron's run have been so stinky.
So let's. I think we should just jump into analysis rather than synopsis, because I feel like a lot of people. I think people need to read it, and we'll give a little snippets here and there of what happens in the book. But I just want to say right off the bat, and I think I've said this before in our solicitation videos, this feels like this should have happened after issue 29,
I think it is.
Yeah, 29. So in issue 29 of Avengers, Jason Aaron's Avengers run, there's this whole what are they called again? Squadron Supreme segment, where they're more, the Squadron is more in charge of the U.S. and the U.S. only. They don't give a shit about the rest of the world, and they're just not. They're Avengers light, if you will, but they're only for the U.S. They're controlled by the U.S. government, and that it's very egocentric. That group is very egocentric, And so I think at 29 or wherever we're talking, there is this moment where we find out that Mephisto is basically having a hand in the formation of the squadron, being in charge of the U.S., right?
Yeah.
He's in cahoots with Coulson, Agent Coulson, I think his name is, and it's looking like Coulson wants a power grab. He wants to kind of overthrow the Avengers, so he's working with Mephisto. We get one issue like that in Jason Aaron's run, right? And then that storyline just goes away, and then we jump into Fist of Khonshu, and then Phoenix, and now we're here, right?
Yeah.
And it felt very discombobulated when we got to those things. Like, you finish that issue, and then you jump right into Fist of Khonshu and into Rise of the New Phoenix, and it's like, it just doesn't feel right. And we've said that multiple times. Like, in Jason Aaron's Avenger run currently, it feels so disjointed and disconnected. Something happened. Well, my theory is Heroes Reborn happened. I think if the pandemic hadn't happened, I think we would have gotten this storyline immediately after issue 29 of Avengers.
Yeah, I think so.
It just feels like classic Jason Aaron Avengers, but we're getting it 3 months, or not even. I don't even know how long it's been, but
well, issue 44 just came out, so it's 15 issues, so it's been a year, and right at the beginning of the pandemic, basically.
Yeah, and so my theory is this was supposed to be in the Avengers comic, and what happened was the pandemic happened. Marvel canceled a bunch of books. They had events set up, like the Dark Ages one or whatever that was. We haven't heard anything about that since, and I think they saw this specific storyline, and they're like, how long is this issue? How long is this arc? And Jason was like, I mean, it's pretty beefy. Like, it's probably like a year's worth of material. And they're like, good, let's make an event. Let's make a Summers event for when we're finally like back to normal. And I really think that's what this is.
So just to solidify the claim here, that was Avengers number 32, which was released on March 11th, 2020. That was exactly 3 days before Fort Worth shut down. I remember it vividly because my birthday is the 12th, so it was right then. We don't get another issue of the Avengers until the first issue of Khonshu, which is May 27th. And then we don't get another issue after that until July 15th. So we've got a 2.5 month gap. You've got a 10-week gap between Squadron Supreme Mephisto issue and the beginning of Khonshu. It seems very clear to me as well that this was just supposed to be the next arc, and it was supposed to be a big, beefy spring through summer run, and then it just got pushed back for whatever reason.
Back and pulled and then made into an event. And I mean, to that credit, like, if you are that Marvel guy or that comic book collector that's going to pick up all the event books, then okay, this is a home run for Marvel, because everyone, there's a ton of tie-in issues, and there's not as much as King in Black, but there's a good handful. But that being said, Heroes Reborn #1 was really good. It was really refreshing, and it felt like classic Jason Aaron Avengers, even though the Avengers aren't really in this book. And I think the biggest clue for me is there's two things. It's Blade knowing that the Avengers essentially existed in his mind, and he's trying to figure out what the hell's going on in this timeline. And then there's a panel where we do meet Coulson, and he's like, it's funny how things come together. And you're like, this is issue 32. Like, it's literally a continuation of issue 32.
Yeah, this very much has a Age of Apocalypse, House of M style setup to where only one person knows that there's something is amiss and something is wrong. However, we keep saying that this is Jason Aaron back to his form, and which it is. But I also can't help but admit or point out that this is Eric McGinnis's first issue since issue 32, which was the last Squadron Supreme issue.
Okay.
Actually, I could be wrong about that. It could even be before that. No. Okay, it is. Ed McGuinness was 32. So it has been a year and 2 months since we have seen the main writer on his own book.
Wow.
And one of the things that I think is so strong about this book, especially during the first couple arcs, and everyone was just really on board with this book, was the just amazing, the huge, bombastic, big. Ed McGuinness does the big, giant muscles, and he loves the big, giant splash pages, but he still gives Jason Aaron a lot of room to put word bubbles, and there's stylistically. I read this issue and I was like, oh, this is why I screamed like a little kid when Ron put the first 25 issues up on his live sale for like $50, and I was like, yo, give me right away.
Yeah.
And then I took it home and literally devoured it in 2 days. And I was like, this is the familiarity. This artwork, it just complements Jason Aaron so well. And so I think that's a big part of what makes me feel like this was a successful first issue.
For sure. And I mean, there's really cool. I mean, there's just cool ideas in here. You got Dr. Doom as, with the diamond of the Juggernaut. I forget how to say it.
Cyttorak.
You've got Venom and Red Skull combined to make Black Skull. You've got Thanos wielding power rings instead of infinity gems or infinity rings. The combination of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, that is fucking epic. I was when I read that, and he literally gives the backstory in 3 blurbs, which I think is all you need. And I hope we get more of it later. But basically, Scarlet Witch's brother dies, and she loses it, and basically
her chaos magic
and absorbs
his power.
Yeah, and so she's really fast at making magic, which I thought was really cool. So she's called the Silver Witch. And then I told you this when we talked about this earlier. I don't quite understand who Power Princess is fighting from Asgard. It's
yes, that's the Mangog and the suit. What's the suit called? The Asgardian.
The Destroyer.
Yeah, it's the Destroyer and the Mangog. So Mangog is he's a super classic Thor character. I think it was in the late 70s during the Ragnarok times. He comes back again during the Jane Foster run and is almost fucking obliterates everyone. He's pretty beefy. So yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, fuck yeah, this is cool.
Yeah. So, you've got that, and then throughout the entire book, you just have Blade trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, because he's the only one that remembers the Avengers. Either A, they're not an Avenger, Tony never put on the armor, he never got the shrapnel in his heart. You've got Thor, he never really picked up Mjolnir, and he's just a drunk. And then you have Cap still in the ice. So it's not a book where the Avengers technically never existed. They just never came to fruition. They never became the Avengers. So these people still exist. They're just not who they are. So they've been snapped out of their positions. The other thing that I like, and again, I don't know much about the Squadron Supreme, and to be honest, knowing the background behind them and why they were created, it kind of was a turnoff for me. But this book really puts them in center, where it's kind of like, hey, these guys are at least the way Aaron's writing them, they're kind of cool. I'll give one blip, when Hyperion is fighting Dr. Juggernaut, or whatever the hell he's called. Yeah. At one point, the Doom grabs him with his hand, and he's like, "You can't escape." And Hyperion literally flexes his neck muscles out of the ground. And I was like, "That's fucking crazy."
No, but it's even better because that little fight between Doom and Hyperion was hilarious because it was so out of the Silver Age. He was like, "Oh no, you've broken my grip with your extreme neck muscles." it read so much like a Silver Age fight, but
Silver Age book.
funny though, like in a humorous way. It was
Right.
It was funny. I liked it.
Yeah, and then, just introducing all the other characters that are clearly like, this is supposed to be Green Lantern, this is supposed to be Flash, this is supposed to be Batman, this is supposed to be Wonder Woman. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more than I thought I would. Not as much to call it my pick of the week, but it was fun.
But it was good.
Yeah.
Honestly, who was it that picked this as pick of the week?
Gem Mint.
Yeah, you told me that the day it came out, and I was like, that guy don't know comic books.
his opinion. You were like, his opinion is kind of busted.
Yeah. My bad.
But then Robbie came out and he was like, it was actually good. And then I sat there going like, holy shit, like maybe I'm validated in the fact that this is somewhat of a decent book. And let's just point out this thing. So you were talking about like big splash pages. This right here with like all the situations that are going on in this book, the entire team fighting somebody, this is epic. And this is what I feel like Jason Aaron's book is kind of missing. Like, it has little glimpses, but this is like full on pedal to the metal, let's go. And it doesn't, outside of like, it does unfortunately have that feeling of, wait, how'd this happen? Right? But I think it makes more sense in this book after you read it, right? Because you're basically in the shoes of Blade in this entire book. And he poses that question to you immediately in the beginning of the book. So there's not, I think as a reader, knowing that feeling of like, what the fuck is going on makes sense in this. Whereas that same feeling in Khonshu and in Phoenix, it just doesn't feel right. It feels completely disconnected.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah. I honestly will have to say that with one issue, it's to the point where I already added the rest of the 7 issues to my pull list. And I've already started re-eyeballing a couple tie-ins. Which is not good, because you were supposed to do Heroes Reborn, and while I did all the tie-ins for Star Wars.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not following you on that journey. I'm sorry. I'm not doing any.
I don't think you should.
No, I'm not doing any tie-ins for the Bounty Hunter. I will do the Alpha and the Omega and just the main event books. And like Mark today, he read that one. He read Bounty Hunters and he was like, "Man, now I got to go buy all the tie-ins." I was like, "Nope, nope."
Well, luckily that's the first one. So if he wants tie-ins, they haven't come out yet.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But overall, this was an enjoyable read. I think if you were a fan of Jason Aaron's run prior to Khonshu and Phoenix, I'd recommend picking up this book. And I don't say that lightly. I think this feels like classic Jason Aaron Avengers, and that's a good thing. And I highly recommend it. I don't want to give away too much, so I want people to read it. But overall, I think it's a solid. I would say a solid B+ book.
I'd give it A-.
Whoa! Look at that. Well, there you go. Average it out. But yeah, so that's Heroes Reborn #1. Go pick it up. Give it a shot. And also, if you pick it up, if your comic book store still has it, you actually get trading cards if you buy the first issue. So you get a little pack of trading cards. Mine are still, I think, in the other room. But you get, I think you get like 12 cards, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, they can't find it.
No.
Anyway, that's a neat little. Hopefully they continue that with the rest of the issues. Like, we continue to get trading cards for like the other tie-ins and other villains. And I'm gonna keep talking until Nate finds it, because I bet he can find it. He found them. Have you opened them yet?
Yeah.
Ooh, cool. You can show them off then.
You do get a little bit of somewhat of a spoiler from these cards too. So like
In issue 1.
Huh? From the cards.
Okay.
So I won't show those, but
Okay.
like a spoiler that you don't even get from issue 1. So that one's pretty
really?
cool. Yeah. That one was really cool. Let's see. The Blade one's the best by far. It's hard to say. It won't focus, but
Blade one's dope. Yeah.
Blade one's very good. Anyway, you get a bunch of them. You get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's a Mephisto one, all kinds of stuff.
I'm sorry that you don't have that many comic stores around you.
Oh no.
we need to get you set up with like a pull list here, and they'll just mail them to you.
It's true.
If that's what you want. Anyway, so that's Heroes Reborn #1. Very enjoyed it very much, and I'm actually pretty pumped for the rest of the series. You know, the only thing that can probably bring it down is the tie-ins, so hopefully those are good.
Yeah.
Because I feel like King in Black, I kind of got a little bit of fatigue, and I really think it was because of the tie-ins. So that is Heroes Reborn #1. Go check it out.
Do it.
Next up, we've got Hellions #11. We are concluding the arcade and mastermind little mini arc before the gala. And I think I told you this too, like, I was pleasantly surprised by this issue.
Yeah. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, you go for it.
I was just going to say, if you've seen us cover any of the past issues in this arc, I cannot stand Mastermind and I never remember his name. I hate him so much I can't remember his Arcade. I don't. Arcade just annoys me, but Mastermind I think is just such an overdone gimmick. All that being said, of course Zeb Wells is going to be the guy that makes me actually care about using them in a story. This has pretty much all the classic things that you expect from a Zeb Wells Hellions book. You know, it's got a lot of action. It's also got some tense moments, but it has a ton of humor as well. Like, this book is just funny.
It's got classic Hellions. Like, it's got those comedic undertones throughout the entire series. But man, there's some really fucked up shit in this book.
Yeah.
You know, like you cut to Psylocke, who has mentally been, you know, or at least in the scenario that she's been in it for quite a while, to the point where she's actually aged, and her hair's white, and she's been killing these murder clones these murder Psylocke clones for years. And so, like, there's like a pile, like a wall of dead Psylocke bodies, and she's like, you know, she's able to kill them one by one. And then she finally gets confronted by I don't remember his name.
Grey Crow.
Grey Crow shows up because in the last issue she was actually able to, like, psychically summon him and kick him out of his scenario. And so, you know, it feels like it's been years for, you know, decades for her, but really it's only been, like, you know, an hour.
Right.
And she realizes that, like, what she did worked, and so all they have to do now is basically fight through the manipulation, the fake worlds, to get to Mastermind. And what we find out in this issue also is Arcade has been holding Mastermind's family hostage, like he does for basically everybody. And to what he's wanting to do basically is to get Sinister to create clones for him. So Wells is building a pretty big, significant circumstance in this book, and that's that not only has Sinister has set up, like, multiple clone stations outside of the island, and I think that's going to be part of the island's downfall. I mean, we know that from Hawksbox.
We know that at least in one version, right?
Yeah, but I think it's going to happen again. And so, you know, in this book, the team essentially gets back together. They break their realities to escape, and Psylocke ends up essentially psychically escaping the world, going into main reality and saving Mastermind, and also saving Sinister and putting Arcade in his place, which I, you know, felt really good because that character is annoying as fuck.
Yes.
But then, you know, as the issue ends, Sinister reminds us that he's got something very gigantic over Psylocke's head, and that he has pretty much control over her no matter what. And the issue ends essentially with Mastermind wiping the entire team's mind, thinking that they saved the day when they really didn't. And Sinister gets a cover-up, so nobody realizes that he's got a cloning facility made for Arcade, but now he's got one for himself in the real world. it's dude, this book is insane, and it's been I've had fun with it since the beginning. And like you said, Wells is doing such a good job of like pulling out characters that people either are really fucking annoyed with or don't care about, and making them very dynamic.
Yeah, I think honestly he's done such a good job, especially with Sinister, that I honestly it wasn't until I was reflecting back on this book maybe yesterday or something, but I was like, I found myself getting a little bit bummed out that Sinister seems to be showing that his evil ways are still there, and then I thought, like, this is the whole point. Like, that's, you know, like, I got comfortable with Mr. Sinister being chill with everyone,
right?
Like, dude's on the council, like, and I've also, I mean, it's been 2 years now almost since, you know, we've had the council formed, and that we've had the status quo that we have now, and it's like it kind of feels like this is just how mutants are supposed to be, right? Like I got used to mutants themselves not being bad guys, not being the people we're fighting against, and I'm getting comfortable with that. And so now that he's really, like, the end of this book shook me up a little bit, like frustrated me, because he was like straight up asshole to Psylocke, and I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you're not supposed to do that. Y'all are like, you know, Krakoa's for all mutants. You're not supposed to do that shit. And then you had to think, it's like, this is one of the most maniacal mutants that's ever existed. And Hickman and Zeb Wells and company have gotten us to the point where you and I, like, we read New Mutants, and of course Shadow King, we're like, I don't even know the guy, and you seem kind of creepy. But Sinister's even worse than that dude.
Well, and here's the problem, and I think you hit the nail on the head. We're comfortable, right? We're like, oh my god, great, everyone can shake hands and be kumbaya, and like, this is what everybody always wanted, right? And I think Hickman was counting on that. Hickman was counting on the fact that as readers, we would start getting comfortable with the fact that Sinister's a good guy, right? And that, you know, this book does that very well, of making you very uncomfortable. And then let's talk about something that happened present day today. Marvel teased what one of the new books are going to be in August, and they're doing it again. They're saying, "Ha, you're comfortable. You like fucking Magneto? You like Magneto? You like the fact that he's a hero? You like that he's on this pedestal now? Oh, hey, by the way, the next book is going to be the trial of Magneto, and it might tear Krakoa apart." And like, you don't really realize that it's been 2 years. I felt like it's been like it just happened yesterday, and now we're getting an event that might technically break the timeline, that might get Moira, like, that's the thing that I think that's going to happen. And again, we should be talking about Hellions, but this kind of leads into it.
It does.
I think we're going to see Moira very soon, because things are going to start getting out of hand between Charles and Magneto, to the point where she's going to have to show up and be like, stop fucking around. Like, we gotta stick to the plan, and what you're doing right now is fucking up the plan. I only got one more life.
Well, yeah, and like we did with Way of X last week, we keep getting, or 2 weeks ago, we keep getting more and more hints or people coming across mutant abilities for seeing the future. In Way of X, he goes to a grave of a mutant that can see the future, and you know, that's one of the big no-nos. So I think certain things like that, and like this book, are really starting to get us on the right track. And the big thing to me, and this is small cookies, because a lot of people are like, you know, I love X-Men, but I don't want to read every single book, which I can totally understand. It's a big cost thing, and like it's hard to read that many books. But
yeah,
if you do that, if you actually are reading every book, something like Hellions, something like Hellions is subconsciously, I think, you know, helping shape your mind for Krakoa. This like, the cracks are starting to form. If you're not reading this book, this might be a crack that you missed. And so I think that things like this are making the overall theme tie together across so many different books.
For sure. And, you know, the whole point is to make us feel uncomfortable. and we've been comfortable for 2 years, and now it's looking like the island's about to break, and it's just like, I don't want to. This is so cool. And then, we knew Krakoa wasn't going to last forever. And there's that, like you said, these books are starting to hint at the fact that not everything is peachy keen on the island of Krakoa.
Also, the commitment that Wells had for having Sinister talk the way he did throughout the entire issue.
Oh God, that was so annoying, but I loved it.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
So in like a previous issue, Arcade fucking rips out a bunch of Sinister's teeth, and so he's talking super jumbled. It makes it sound like as soon as you read it, you can hear him talking like with missing teeth, and he committed the whole book. He talks that way.
Yeah, I thought like it's just. And what was hard for me is I'm dyslexic, so when I was reading it, I was like, God, I really got to concentrate on this shit.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I see what you're saying, though. Like, yeah, it was he committed all the way through. So that's Hellions number 11. I really enjoyed it. This is probably one of my top 3 books right now, just because it's fun, it's comedic, but it still has presence and weight within the Krakoan timeline. So it's cool.
Yes.
All right.
Before we start Marauders,
I
just want to point something out to you.
Okay.
It's been 35 minutes and we did 2 books.
I know, we gotta go.
we need to get our pacing down here.
All right. Well, this one will be easy. So Marauders number 20. This is basically a love letter, a farewell letter to Storm. She's leaving the Marauders, and we get, they're sailing. The team is sailing to the island that Magneto made for Emma Frost, and they are basically just reminiscing about Storm and just how fucking badass she is. Yeah. And that, she doesn't just have to use her mutant powers to win the day. She's got a lot of knives, and she's just a badass bitch, man. She don't take no shit from nobody, dude. Like,
yeah,
she's just awesome.
There was a lot of good humor in this book. It to me, this was like a family book almost. Like a lot of these characters have a rich history. Like Callisto and Storm have been written together since like '84. Kitty Pryde and Storm have been together since late '70s. I mean, it's just been forever. One thing that I particularly liked and didn't like about this book, I liked the first little. So this is broken up into like 3 or 4 different stories because everyone's talking about a moment they like with Storm. The first one showed us what Marauders is all about. Is they go to India and rescue a girl that's basically being used as human slave labor because her name is Lash, and she has the mutant power. Basically, she's like cutting ships in half, like entire. We're talking, 60-foot tall steel ships. And she's just cutting them in half, and they're like, yeah, she can do the labor of 30 men. And they're like, yeah, well, she's coming with us. And that's what Marauders book was supposed to be about, right? It was about them traveling the world, rescuing mutants from situations that they can't get out of, mostly from countries that won't let them go, or, we had that Russia storyline and stuff like that. I do wish we were getting a little bit more of that. It seems like this book has been kind of scattered when it comes to keeping true to that that identity.
Yeah, I think it's because you including event tie-ins and also trying to solve the mystery.
But the event tie-in was a separate book. It wasn't even part of the run.
I know, but I'm just saying. And then also the mystery of Kate. Is she a mutant? Why can't she go? Like that was literally drawn out for like 10 issues. So, and then the politics of the Hellfire Company and all that shit. So, but no, I agree with you.
I'm also shocked that they didn't put a header on this that says Hellfire Gala prequel or Road to the Hellfire Gala. You know how they love to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that's not on here because that's the whole backstory of what we're doing here. Is they're on the Marauder heading towards the island for Hellfire Gala. I mean, we're literally the night before, and they arrive at the very end of the book. And so,
and it did. I think that book did. I think the book did that really well though, because like I wasn't even thinking of that, and then when they started talking about the gala, and you've got Frost like just, oh, this is where everything's gonna change, and I'm like, what the fuck is gonna happen? Like I am so excited / scared for Hellfire Gala because of all the information that we've got about the event, and not.
Yeah. There's definitely, this is a very purposeful panel here, where when they arrive on the island, it's storming and tons of lightning. Like,
Yeah.
something ominous is going down. This is not going to be just a ball. So,
No. And I think that's why, we speculated why the X-Men were announced before the issue came out. Well, it's because that's not the main focus of the ball. I think that's completely a diversion.
yeah. Which, again, we were upset about when it happened. And we were like, the whole point of the Hellfire Gala is for you to reveal the new X-Men team. And, well, no, actually.
Yeah, sounds like Magneto's going to kill somebody. Anyway,
Yikes.
see what happens. I've got my theories. So that is Marauders, number 20. Next up, we've got American Chavez, number 3. Oh, this book, dude. It just keeps on surprising me month after month. Yeah.
We need a little warning bell. It's like, like that. Because if we did, that's going to be our retcon bell. Because that's what this book is.
Supposedly. We don't know what's true, dude. We don't know what's true.
Okay, yeah, I guess technically you're right.
It could be all fake.
It could be all fake. So basically, I don't think it is, but I'll get it.
Okay.
So basically, this book is kind of changing what we knew about America's backstory. Up till now, that her history is that she came from a different multiverse, or a different part of the multiverse, the Utopian parallel, and that her mom's, I don't know, she somehow like sacrificed herself, or they sacrificed them for her, something like that.
Very Kryptonian type background.
Absolutely, very Kryptonian type background. And then she appeared on a beach in New York, and a family raised her, and that's that. Well, we finally find out the identity of the person that she was in pursuit of. Sorry, man, my head is itchy as hell.
I got you, dude. It's freaking spring, man.
And it turns out it was a girl, and this girl is claiming to be America's sister. And she's saying, hey, it's time for you to remember who you are and where you came from. And America's like, nope, I know who I am and where I came from. And she's like, yeah, you don't, though. The story you've been telling people about, you're from a different multiverse, different universe, and your mom's this and your mom's that. That's really cute, but like that's not true at all. And I have this serum right here that will open your mind to remember all the things that you've forgotten. And America's like, I'm not taking that shit. Like at this point, she's like strapped down, and like her powers are fading. Remember the first 2 issues, we've had that problem, and so she's trying to bust out, and she can't. And she, girl's got the syringe ready and everything. Is like, this is it, but I'm not going to force you. Like, if you don't want to, like, I'm not going to make you do it. And so she's like, why, maybe if I tell you. And so we get a flashback, we get a pretty long, most of this book is what, I can't remember her name, what her sister, supposed sister, is claiming is essentially the origin. That America had some kind of disease, and that her moms were researchers, and found out about this island that was not that far off the coast of Long Island. And they were doing research there, and there was a bunch of kids there, and they were going to cure these kids. It was going to be all dandy and nice.
And also the kids, I guess the disease only manifested in females.
I didn't even catch that part.
Yep.
Okay.
Because if you look at it, like her origin, the one that she tells, is that she's from an island or a multiverse that's only female.
Well, that makes sense, yeah.
And so in this, it's, apparently this disease that she has is only manifesting in females.
Yeah.
So.
And so it basically, the guy's like shows, he said, oh, well, I have this like vault, and like in the vault, this weird timey-wimey stuff, and it will help them,
suppress it or whatever.
Suppress it or get rid of it. And he opens this vault, and it literally is like this big, giant, huge, lush land on the other side of this vault. And apparently the sister has not shown any signs currently.
Yeah, like she's been born, but she doesn't have any
signs of this
signs of the
mystery
disease. Yeah.
And so they're like, he's like, if you bring your whole family, bring the young girl, like she's probably going to get it too. And by you coming here, we'll have a cure by the time her symptoms start to manifest. And, everyone will be all cured and everything will be great. Well, for whatever reason, it doesn't work out that way. It gets shut down and it doesn't happen. So we come back to the present time, and her sister basically is like, let me show you like what's going on. Let me show you what we're doing. And she takes her into the space that was the vault, and you can see that she's got row after row of children in capsules. And she's saying, we're going to finish what our mom started. And so we're in a big, sort of a mindfuck of what's going on with America's origin. And like, is she really not from this alternate universe? Is she, is this all some sort of like inside the Matrix sort of thing, which is going to come up at the very end of the show as well. But yeah, I mean, this story is super intriguing. I don't know. The whole time I was like, oh, what is going on? Like, it's just like a mystery, which was really different than what I was expecting for us to go here. I thought we really were going back to, the utopian parallel. And the art in this book is really good. Like, it flowed really well. We had really good pacing.
I'll be very interested to see what the reaction to, like, I don't want to say true America Chavez fans, but people that have been with the character since her inception, and see what they think of this. Me personally, I think this book has done a fantastic job of picking up new fans of the character and the story, and I just was not expecting this story out of this book. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting this, and it's just I'm looking forward to the next issue. I think it's done a really good job. Vasquez has done a really good job of like engaging the readers, telling an awesome story, and I think it just, I don't know, man. I wasn't expecting it. It's a pleasant surprise. Yep.
We've only got 2 more issues left, so it's not like we're going to go down a long rabbit hole. We're going to figure out what's going on here pretty quickly, but I honestly didn't even give it a thought that maybe this girl's lying. And that this wasn't totally the truth. Now, I do think this is probably what is the truth, because Marvel likes to keep multiverses on the down low, and Chavez was introduced before Secret Wars and before Hickman kind of cleaned up all the sprawling multiverses. But at the same time, Dan Slott's 2018 Fantastic Four had Franklin out there just fucking busting out multiverses left and right. So, with Donny Cates' run, we saw him going to a different multiverse than Venom. Yeah. So, who knows?
We'll see. We'll see what happens. We were pleasantly surprised and cannot wait for issue number 4. So, next up, we have Immortal Hulk 46. This will be a quick one as well. Basically, what we get is Joe Fixit's Hulk infused with the Devil Hulk, back in the real world, and he basically obliterates the Alpha Flight team that was reassembled with all these like different characters that have kind of elemental powers. And the best, he ends up showing up, so they can't contain him when he was all dissolved. So they end up fighting him again, and he does this. There's one guy that's made out of like metal, and he basically like he fucks him up to the point where he's like he can't talk. He melts his face and like rips his face apart. And then one of the other characters is like this person that can change her body into any kind of vapor elementally wise, and he breathes her in, and then like shoots. Yeah, like he like sucks her in, and then it's a poison, but he doesn't care, and he ends up shooting it at another one of the characters, and that dude gets fucked up, and he escapes this group. So it looks like the Alpha Flight group, the new one, was gonna get him, and he ends up escaping. So the director of Alpha Flight ends up calling in the Avengers. Okay, so we've already seen that once before. So we cut to the Hulk in Manhattan trying to get a drink at a bar, and everybody in the bar is like, the fuck is the Hulk doing here? And he's like, chill, guys. I just want a drink, you know. So he's like, you know, dicking around with the bartender. The bartender's like, please don't hurt me. He's like, just give me a drink and everything will be fine. And before he can have his drink, Thor shows up, smacks him in the head with the hammer, and the conflict ensues.
Is this All-Father Thor?
Yes.
Like we can tell. Like he's got his head crown or whatever.
It's Donny Cates' Thor.
Okay.
He's in the new suit. And so they're fighting, and they basically take the brawl outside of the bar, and then we get a splash of the Avengers, basically like, we're here to come get you. And the funny thing is, She-Hulk's like, I thought we were going to try to talk first. And Thor's kind of like, this is how I talk. Like, you know, typical, you know, Thor bullshit. And so it's looking like it's going to be, you know, 6-on-1 against the Hulk. And then I don't know the name of the character. It's originally Bruce Banner's wife. I think it's Betty. I don't know what her name is. She's the daughter of General Ross. So Betty Ross, I guess. She shows up. She's this red harpy, and she's like, no, it's 2 against 6. So she's going to help out Hulk. And so that's how this issue ends. So we're going to still get a pretty big fight going on. But the Avengers are back. They were called in by Alpha Flight. And the only thing I liked this issue, the only thing I will say is it just feels like we're really stretching to get to the conclusion. And I feel like we need to wrap it up. Like, we know it's ending at 50, so like it just feels like it kind of feels like Donnie sometimes, where when he writes something it ends really quick and you're like, but we got so many more issues, you could have packed at least another 2 pages in here. So that's what I'll say about that. I'm still enjoying it. I can't wait to see the conclusion of it, but it just feels a little drawn out. And then obviously this cover is fantastic. So that is Immortal Hulk 46.
Nice.
All right, we're jumping into Star Wars with Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunter, the Prelude, the Alpha.
The Alpha.
I'm going to go open my doors. You start.
Got it. So for anyone that's not doesn't know exactly where the current Marvel Star Wars books are, we're in between episodes 5 and 6, so before Empire and Return of the Jedi. So we are about to have a big multi crossover. I think it's like 36 issue crossover between Star Wars, Darth Vader, Dr. Aphra, Bounty Hunters. There's a couple of one shots. And it's all going to center around everyone fighting for Han Solo, Frozen, and Carbonite. So this first issue, Boba Fett basically is on his way to Jabba, and we're like, okay, there's got to be a diversion somehow, right? Because I mean, you know that's if you've watched the movie, you know that's where we're going. Like eventually, Boba Fett will get to Jabba with Han. We know that. So really, I actually kind of like that this isn't like some build up to a grand reveal or something. That it's just like, this is just the journey. Like it's the journey, and we're gonna have fun going. So Boba Fett basically notices that the carbonite is starting to wear or starting to melt or decay on Han Solo, and he's like, yeah, shit, this is not gonna work. And so he's like, I got a guy. So he goes to a planet, has a guy, and he looks at the guy and is like, hey, I need you to fix this. And the guy's like, yeah, it's going to cost you the fuck ton of money. And Boba Fett's like, I'll get you after I deliver this guy because we're going to get a big bounty. And he's like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. I'm going to need you to go kill some motherfuckers for me. And you can win the money that way. And then it'll be worth it. So Boba Fett's like, yeah, okay. So what it turns out he has to do is basically go to like a gladiatorial arena and fight his way up to the champion, take out the champion, and then he'll get his winnings and be able to pay this guy to, it's very much this is his quest, and here's side quest A, which leads to side quest B. Mm-hmm. But it's very humorous along the way. I thought it was really cool when the lady asks him his gladiatorial name's gonna be, and he just walks up and he's like, Jango.
Jingo.
I was like, oh, going the memory of his papa.
Daddy issues.
And so he basically goes into the gladiatorial arena and decides to just lop off some heads. Literally, one guy gets impaled through the mouth. Then the other 3 literally get their heads chopped off or blown off completely with guns. He makes quick work of everybody until he gets to the champion. And it turns out this champion is a alien spider synthezoid kind of a thing. It's like a human body with like an anthropomorphic spider's like ass on its back with a leg. To me, it was like quintessential. Like it seems like a villain that would be created in like George Lucas's like 80s, like Return of the Jedi style stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Like just this really weird, I don't know, creepy.
Also,
not creepy, but like
it's
dirt.
gross.
Makes me
It's
feel
gross.
gross. Yeah.
Yeah, because at one point she like actually shoots web from her butt, and like they show it, and you're like, dude, that looks like.
Yeah, you see it, and I was like, that's vulgar. Like that's.
I mean, that
I need
looked
a
like
warning for that shit.
Yeah, that looked like a vagina.
I thought it looked like a pee-pee tip.
Okay. Either way, it looked like some kind of genital thing. It was gross. I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, oh, this is rated for teen. That's mature.
Yeah. Yes. So, of course, he actually gets quite injured. He gets impaled through the like shoulder arm right here.
See, and I thought it was his chest. Like when that happened, I was like, fuck, he's dead. Like it's over.
Even though you know how it ends.
Exactly.
And then he eventually wins. He takes his winnings, and of course, this is the champion fighter of some random crime lord on this particular planet. And they're like, hey, you just killed our fighter, so like now we're gonna need your money. And he's like, okay, yeah, one thing at a time. And he goes to collect and see if Han Solo's ready to go. He went and did the task the guy asked him to do, and he shows up, and actually the dude's been killed, and Han Solo's been stolen. So here we go. The chase begins. The next issue I think is Star Wars, plain Star Wars. So we're gonna see what Luke and Chewbacca are doing as they try to find Boba Fett.
So what I'll say about this book is it felt very heavy metal in the art style, but it also felt like an episode of The Mandalorian in a good way. And I'll give credits where credit's due. I was talking to Mark about this earlier, one of our friends and coworkers, who is also a big Star Wars nerd and comic book nerd. And he was like, Boba sounds like it feels like he's talking, or he sounds like Mando. Like his dialogue with characters, it sounds like Mando rather than Boba. And I can see that.
I don't agree with that.
Well, the only reason why I agree with that is because in the movies, Boba Fett doesn't talk a lot, and that's by design. That's totally by design. And so we haven't really had a lot of dialogue with Boba Fett, right? Like we really haven't heard his voice in the movies, right? And I'm talking about the movies, not the comics.
Right.
And
I understand what I'm saying.
And as a casual Star Wars comic book reader, because like I feel like his voice was different even in issue 1 and 2 of Bounty Hunters, Star Wars Bounty Hunters. Like he just didn't. He was very like, business. And in here we've got a little bit like you were saying, like when the guy was like, you owe us some money. You killed our champion. And he was kind of like, oh, fuck, I'll get to it, bro. And like, I just don't feel like we've ever really seen that side of Boba. Like it's more like, pew. No, I don't. And I would walk away. You know what I mean? Even dealing with his friend, like he's like, all right, fine. What the fuck do you want me to do? Right? Rather than like, I feel like Boba in the movies would just be like, no, you're going to fix this problem for me. I'm not paying or doing any of your dirty bullshit. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I get that.
It's not a bad thing either, though. I mean, we wouldn't have a comic if he didn't go do those things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
The final thing I have to say about this book, besides it was a good setup and I'm looking forward to the event, is I fucking love. I shouldn't, but I love the troll of this book. So I don't know if you paid attention.
The troll.
But yeah, well, I'm getting just. I don't know if you paid attention. But this book has like 36 different covers, and they're all about the new black Beskar suit. Oh my God, Boba Fett gets a new suit. He's gonna get a black suit of black Beskar, and it turns out he just spray painted himself black so that he wouldn't be recognized in the gladiatorial arena. You're never gonna see it again. Like it just was a spoof.
Yeah, I did like that.
People were speculating like crazy. Oh my God, this is going to be a key issue. I'm going to retire on it. The black suit. I'm a huge Boba Fett fan. I love black suit. It's going to be so cool. They're going to make figurines of it.
Shh. Nope. I was almost going to call you. Like when I read that, I was like, motherfuckers.
It's kind of cold, honestly, but it's
I like it. No, I think that's great because, like you said, there's like 30,000 covers of this thing. This was almost, when I was reading and I got to this book, this was my pick of the week. Like it was holding very strong for me to be the pick of the week because it was so enjoyable. And I'm sitting there just like you. We know how it ends, right? But there's, the way we think about it is, Boba got him, went to A to B, and that was it. Well, no, there's some story here. And, obviously I'm not picking up the tie-in issues, the series issues. I'm just going to read the event. So I'm counting on your review to tell me what happens. But I I thought the artwork was fantastic too. Like that arena thing where he's just blowing people's heads off. I was like, damn, dude, this is intense. But I after reading this book, this is what I thought, not necessarily the arc with Han's body. This is what I thought Bounty Hunters was going to be. Star Wars Bounty Hunters. And it's clearly not. It's like deep and rich in Star Wars history to the point where like, if you don't got the time, you're going to be lost. And where this is just fucking fun. Just straight up blow some heads off and try to get Han Solo to Jabba.
Yep.
So I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I picked it up because I originally wasn't going to. So, and I got the director's cut and the black and white. It's basically the book over with no dialogue, so it's just like a silent issue, black and white.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Nice.
It's really cool. So that's Star Wars Bounty Hunters Alpha.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna go into, this is our new segment, which is the honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. So I have two books that are going to be very honorably mentioned quickly because they were late pickups. This is Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal. So I haven't been reading a lot of the AWA stuff, but the stuff that I did read, I enjoyed, and it's all been getting reviewed very well. Garth Ennis is probably the biggest name besides J. Michael Straczynski that they've gotten. I mean, they've gotten some big names. Benjamin Percy's done year 2. I think Matt Kent did something for him. Anyway, I was very curious about this because people were like, oh, if you like The Boys mixed with time travel, then you'll like this. And I was like, okay, that sounds like something I'm interested in. And I noticed they still had plenty of copies when I showed up at the store. And so I was like, you know what? I'll throw my support this way for a smaller independent. This book is really great. It's exactly what you would expect it is. It's not superheroes, so take that element out. But think, anything you could think of if you know Garth Ennis. It's extremely crude. People are being called shitbags and dickheads all throughout the issue. Very violent. People getting their heads lopped up and their arms lopped off. And it was super fast paced. It was really funny, and it had a really cool twist at the end. So if you're looking for something different, it's got good art, it's got good writing. That is Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal, number 1.
Nice.
And then I also finished up a series that I picked up late. I didn't pick up the first 2 issues when they came out. I just picked it up. It was actually when Berserker and ENIAC came out the same week, and I was like, Matt Kent, love it. Is he writing anything else right now? Well, it turns out he was. He was writing Fear Case. And so Fear Case number 4, the final issue of this, came out. Now, the thing that also intrigued me as well is that Tyler and Hillary Jenkins are doing the art on it. If you, they also worked with Matt Kent on Grass Kings. They worked with Maxwell Prince on King of Nowhere. So it's that very scratchy, painty watercolor feeling. It's very good art if you like that style. Is this the book that you were trying to show me, where like someone like was leading the body to the with like their entrails with their? Yes. Whoop! This is that book. So the basic premise of this book is that there is a case, like a briefcase, and when you get it, you have to give it to the person you hate the most. And if you don't, it'll go to the person that you love, and you'll die. You'll die, and it'll go to the person you love the most. And so the story is following 2 FBI agents. It's their very first case, and it's basically kind of starts driving them crazy. Like they want to know what it is. They want to know what it is. And in this issue, we get what I would say an absolutely phenomenal wrap up. You know, the whole time the case is a MacGuffin, right? It's like what's in the case or what's not in the case doesn't really matter. Is that the point? This gives the best non-answer to that style of story that I've ever seen. It is very much a like you read the book and you get to kind of make your own conclusions. But the way it wrapped up, I really enjoyed. I was not expecting it to go this way. The art in it is absolutely phenomenal. It's very there are a couple of the gore is quick, only 2 panels, maybe 3, but it is gross, intense. There's also a 2-page splash page that I can't give you any details about, but let's just say if you were highly offended, it's going to offend you because it's basically a large group of people looking inside this case at once. Do you really see your fears? Do you not? Is something going on? What they see or what they don't see is very intense. Okay. If you like not horror, but if you like suspense, thriller, Seven, like the movie Seven, or I'm trying to think, Bone Collector, that kind of stuff, this is definitely for you. A very easy read. That is Fear Case number 4, Matt Kent. Nice. So that is our new segment. I'll make a slide at some point, and that is our honorable mentions. There will be more to come. All right, after that, we're sticking with the Star Wars train, and we're cutting into Star Wars High Republic. Just Adventures, not High Adventures. High Republic Adventures. There you go. Did you pick this up? I did not. We gonna talk about that? Okay, I'll go get it tomorrow. Jesus Christ! Tell me about the book. We gotta go. We gotta go. So basically, this book picks up exactly where we left off in 3. I'm never gonna remember the characters' names, so don't even ask me. But I'm gonna look at it and see Zine. Her name is Zine, the girl with octopus tentacle hair. She is still with the Padawans, and they're still kind of training. They're in this sort of holding pattern because they think they might be close to the Nile base, and they might have to send out a strike force. Well, turns out they did find it, and strike force is going. So, you see a bunch of the actual adults, buckets of blood, and Yoda getting into their ships and blasting off like they're going like, yeah, we found the Nile home base. We're going to go attack them. And meanwhile, the Nile are actually on a planet. It's a decoy. They're on a planet there to do some thug shit. And the point, what they're doing there doesn't matter. But the point is that one of the people that they're kind of roughing up a little bit, trying to shake down for information, gets away and starts running away. And Marcion Rowe looks at the little boy who he's sort of kidnapped, who he's kind of turning, and is like, hey, don't let him get away. If he runs and gets away, like we're screwed. Like, here's a gun, like catch him and shoot him. And so the boy's like running and is like kind of shooting, but kind of missing on purpose. And it's just like, hey man, like stop, like what the hell? We get some really awesome space battles in between where Jedi meet up with Nile ships and start getting blasted off. Again, we get more action in this book than we do in the adult book. We get this page, which was really cool that I showed you about. It's like a breakdown of a lightsaber. It shows you different Jedis that are in this book. It shows you their hilts.
Yeah.
It shows you the breakdown of all that. I thought that was really interesting. Back on the ship, Zine is having trouble. She is worried about her friend and that he's in trouble and that she doesn't want to leave him behind. She thinks that, he doesn't want to be there. And if she finds him and brings him back to where the Padawans are, that he'll be fine and be good. It'll be great.
Right.
So she basically leaves a message, sneaks out, grabs the ship and leaves them a message and says, hey, I'll be back, I promise, but I have to go find him. Got to do it. At the same time, that friend is calling Zine up and is like, hey, let's get out of here. I changed my mind. I don't want to be with these guys. I'll forgive you that you use the Force. You just can never use it again, ever. No matter what. We'll just pretend like it never happened, and me and you will run away and we'll be happy forever. And so you can already see that this is probably not going to end up well. And the friends find out that Zine has run off and that she is gone by herself. And they're like, what are we going to do? We can't just let her go to this planet where the Nile are by themselves. We can't do that. And they're like, no. Well, we'll be violating orders. They're like, we follow the Force. And so fuck yeah, if that's the answer, then we're gonna do it. So they literally all four of them cram into the single cockpit of a X-Wing or whatever, and they fly off. And so it looks like we are going to get a little bit of a showdown on this red moon. Yeah, it's interesting. Very fast paced.
I'll go pick it up. Jesus Christ.
It's very fast paced, very interesting. We get another cool Marchion Ro cover on issue 5. He's holding some type of bladed energy sword. I find it very I think there's so much potential between these two new characters, Zine and whatever her friend that is a boy's name is. I can't remember whatever his name is, because you're really getting the classic quintessential well, he's mad because she lied and didn't do all these things, and she's gonna be, he's probably gonna turn bad, and so she's gonna be a good person and in the light of the Force, but she's going to be troubled by his betrayal, or he'll always be her antagonist essentially. It's setting up a really good backstory for characters I think can be used for a long time.
That's cool.
So I'm telling you, I really do think this is not my thing often with speculation and stuff, but I really, really think not only should you be reading these because they're good stories, but the first 3 issues of this book and 5 or 10 years from now are going to be worth a lot of money, because these characters in here, Zine, her friend that's a boy, and Marchion Ro, the main bad guy, they're going to be around for years. If we get High Republic movies or TV shows, these characters are going to be in them. I fucking guarantee it.
It will be.
Marchion Ro is set up to be he is going to be the Darth Maul, Darth Vader, Emperor of this era. And all of his first cameo appearance, cover appearance, is issue 1, 2, 3. Obviously, Zin and her friend, their first appearances are in the first issue as well. So, if that's your cup of tea, I'd go buy a couple. There are still stores all over the Metroplex where we live that have covers or have all these for cover price.
Yep. No, it's gonna happen. And I'm not trying to hype that train up. I genuinely believe that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Jaden says I'd love the lightsaber breakdown. I'd hang that on my wall as a poster.
Yeah,
That's cool.
It's really cool. I liked it. Which again, this is in the kid book. If this is what's in the kid book, we should be kind of makes
You're
me
right.
frustrated with the other book.
You're right. You're totally right. So that is Star Wars High Republic Adventures. Next up, we jump back into Marvel. We have Strange Academy number 10, field trip time. We're going to Asgard. The kids are going to Asgard to just get out of the house. And we thought we were going to get Thor in this issue.
We did.
Did we?
I didn't think that.
I thought so. I thought we'd get something, or at least, something close to that. But we end up getting, what's his name? The big fat guy.
Volstagg.
Volstagg. And so they learn about the dichotomy and diversity of Asgard in this issue. And they thought they were going to go on a field trip around Asgard. They end up just going to the mess hall to eat, and, plenty of diversity at the mess hall. And while we get that, we find out that one of our Asgardian students has a secret. And that secret is he is the son of the Enchantress.
Enchantress.
So he's hiding something. We initially had Doyle, who his father is Dormammu. That's a pretty big villain. But we find out that, one of the, or actually both the boys.
Of them. I was about to say both of them, right?
Both the boys they're basically twins. I don't know if they're actually twins, but
Eric and Alvi.
Their mother is the Enchantress. And so, they were kind of bullying Doyle. They're trying to kind of get in between Doyle and Emily, I think her name is.
Mm-hmm. Emily.
They're having a little bit of a budding romance, and so they're trying to get in between that. And Doyle finds out their secret, that the Enchantress is their mom, and he kind of saves their butts by kind of making a diversion so that nobody finds out. Mm-hmm. And so we get a little bit of that. We get Doyle and Emily kind of solidifying the romantic relationship and kind of being boyfriend girlfriend. In this issue. I like it.
I do too. I like it a lot. I think it's fun.
I think overall this book is a lot of fun. But what happens is, while they're doing this, the rest of the crew, the rest of the students are actually getting into a food fight at the cafeteria, if you will, or the food hall. Mm-hmm. And so they were quickly kicked out. And so the issue ends with, Doyle finding out some new information, Emily affirming her feelings for Doyle. And also Enchantress sees Doyle and goes, "You need to stay away from that kid. Like, I know I'm bad news, but my prophecies rarely are wrong, and he is going to be the end of the school." So, we get a fun issue, but we also get some movement of plot in this book. And I really am enjoying the Scotty Young and Ramos. Ramos is killing it on the artwork. This is such a great book.
Yeah, the art on this book is so good. And apparently, and I don't know this personally myself, but I've heard multiple people comment that Humberto Ramos just doesn't have a good track record on being a consistent writer on a monthly book, that he just can't keep up. And God, I hope that does not stay true for this book, because 10 issues in, and his art is one of the absolutely foundational pieces of the identity of this book. Like, obviously Scotty Young's writing as well, but like, I feel like this book could lose a lot if Ramos wasn't doing the art.
Yeah, let's just keep our fingers crossed. But overall, this is another one of these books that, we picked up and we were like, let's see what happens. And it's been a fun, pleasant surprise. And I say it every time we talk about this book. I really hope this becomes a Disney Plus show, an animated or, Pixar-esque Big Hero 6 animated style show. I think it'd be really cool. So
also, we get 2 romances in this book, right? So you get Emily and Doyle, but we also get Shaylee and Toth. They start a little romance. It looks like maybe this next issue is going to be a little bit deep, though, because the cover for the next one is Toth shattered into pieces.
Yeah, he's not looking too good.
So hopefully he'll be able to recover from that. But
yep. I will say this: I am not discouraged or disappointed in the fact that we don't have more Doctor Strange in this book. I like these new characters. I want to go on their journey. When we do get Doctor Strange or we get another professor in there, it's a pleasant surprise. It's awesome. I love it. But I want to stick with these characters.
Yeah, these characters are really strong on their own with what little 10 issues. You don't have a ton on them, but they're very strong so far.
You feel very connected to them already.
I mean, come on, that cover is so fucking amazing.
Cover's killer, dude. Oh, the other thing I like though too is when they were on the Rainbow Road and the teacher's like, "Do not exit the vehicle, because we may not be able to track you onto another dimension." So
yeah, and then the other teacher's like, "Is that true?" And she's like, "Yeah,
yeah, that's no fucking around." All right, next up, we've got X-Men: Curse of the Man-Thing #1. This is the conclusion of the Curse of the Man-Thing storyline. It was. I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
I liked the introduction of magic into the thing, and really Krakoa being involved for at least a couple panels. But magic basically shows up and is like, "Listen, you summoned the devil. The one you made a deal with isn't here anymore. You got me now." Yeah. And he's like, "Wow, well, shit." And she's like, "But if you're willing, then if you're willing to, essentially give up the mantle, the man thing, if you want out, you can be out." And he's like, "Well," she's like, "Yeah, it'll just cost the world, but you can let you out." And so he really has to struggle with finding his identity within Man-Thing. Now, were you familiar with anyone besides Marrow on the
Nope.
the Dark Riders team?
Nope.
So this,
I liked Marrow when she showed up, and she was fucking boss in this issue.
yeah. And then what is this? What is the Mortal Kombat guy?
Forearm, I think his name is.
No, I'm saying, what is the Mortal Kombat guy's name?
Oh, Goro.
Goro. Yeah, we got a Goro ripoff here. Then we got the Shark ripoff from DC. So it does feel a little. We also, we had it in the first book, introducing the Harrower, and now we've got introducing the Dark Riders. It's like, well, this isn't really much of a thing. I don't know. I find it hard to even synopsize this book because it felt like we progressed a little bit, but we kind of went like this as we progressed and just kind of went in circles. The basic gist I got is that Tim Sale or Solly
Dr.
or whatever,
Sales, I think his
Dr.
name.
Sales, he basically comes to the conclusion that he's going to stay in the void of the Man-Thing. He's going to stay in control there. And that he's going to, by doing that, he's going to finally just assume control of Man-Thing and defeat the Harrower. And I mean, that's pretty much what they do. The Harrower, and you get a pretty cool scenes with fighting that I really enjoyed with whoever these Dark Riders are, like ripping all of these like bug, dragon, frog looking things. Basically like swamp creatures, just ripping them to shreds. And then they were talking about, like, one guy was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna have like guts in my hide for a week," and the other one was, what did he say? He said magic promised us splatterpunk. Like,
yeah, it did. It was weird.
But then you get like this Marrow, like
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, damn, that's intense.
And like she just popped up on like a CBR article of like the lamest mutants, but you love them anyway. And I was like, this book does her justice because she don't look lame at all in this book.
Yeah. But we get a tiny little bit of backstory for Harrower too. We find out like some of her motivations are, she was a bad kid and her dad moved out in the middle of nowhere to get her out of school and get her away from being bullied and getting in trouble, and he dies in a fire, and so she wants retribution against the world by making the world burn.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand what the purpose of this was. Like,
I felt like, to me, after reading it, it was like, you don't know Man-Thing, but you want to know more? Here's a three issue miniseries.
I don't feel like I understand a single thing more about Man-Thing than I did before I read this.
I agree.
which is disappointing because that's why I read this. I was like, oh, maybe this will help me understand who Man-Thing is a little bit. So like, I don't feel confident in the things that I think I understand. Like, okay, so Man-Thing is like an entity that needs an avatar, and so this Dr. Salus guy is the avatar. But so the interdimensional portal thing that he guards, is that a real place or is that inside of him?
Don't know.
And like it just, yeah, it felt weird. Also, Belasco showing up was kind of strange. Like at first it was cool because Magic and Belasco have such history. He's the guy that captured her and raised her for years. He's the reason why she becomes the the demon child. And so her getting to throw him to the doctor and just sort of be like, yeah, get your revenge. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But
Yeah.
Overall, I read this, and each issue was oversized too. Each issue was a $4.99 book, and I read all 3 issues, and I'm like,
well, and then at the end they're like, it's not over, and I'm like, I think it's over.
well, here it says, it doesn't say it's not over. It says, what does it say? Oh, sorry, you're right. It says not the end.
Yeah.
But then you flip the page and it says next, Curse of the Man Thing, but that's just the
trade.
The trade.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
So I don't know. Unfortunately, I was like, I think maybe because DC Swamp Thing is so good right now. I was like, man, it'd be cool if both titles kind of revived their I don't know, play it dudes. But this did not do it.
Nah, this was maybe the lower part of the week for sure. But this cover's
and I
fire.
blame you for this one.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take one.
You've got 30 wins, and this is your one.
Oh my gosh, I'll take the L. All right, so that rounds off our Marvel part of the show. We're jumping into our DC, and we're starting off with Batman. Wait. This is our pick of the week.
That's the guy.
Oh.
Pick of the week.
Can you tell? Can you tell this is my pick of the week?
Yep, it is our pick of the week.
Oh boy.
Tinian is a rising star, and we're late to the party. We didn't know, and we're sorry, but we're here now.
Man, these covers are just so nice.
Yeah, and
I know
you. It's okay. I like that one. That's my favorite. I have that one. Cover B is fire.
That's it though. 36 covers for this one. That 3 is
enough. There's a lot of people like this book. There's a little bit of some complaints for this book because it's mainly deposition. It's all talking. But I mean, yeah, you read comics, you read them. And Jaden says definitely picking this up. Good. You should.
Definitely should, yeah.
Yeah, this book is awesome. So we get an introduction to Miracle Molly. We find out that the new character in the previous issue. You know what? We're not going to give it away.
What?
Well, in the previous issue, we got a new character that looked a lot like Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, let's not give that part away.
No, let's not give that part away. But basically, Molly, what we find out in this book is, at the beginning of the book, we get reminded Scarecrow still has Batman in a gimp suit, putting fear serum in him. Right? We're always going to, that's how Tinian's like, remember, Batman has been captured. But then we cut to the present, and the present is, we don't know who the bad guy is in this book. Is it the city of Gotham? Is it Miracle Molly? Is it the Unsanity Society? Is it the Joker?
It's not the Joker, but
It's
all
not
the
the
rest
Joker.
of them, yes.
Is yes. So everybody's the bad guy. So really, it's like pick your poison. Who do you want to go after first? And so that's the dilemma of Batman right now. We've got basically the introduction of the first unit, the first person of the magistrate, the first peacekeeper, who you find out was the guy that was in the Infinite Frontier story that survived the Arkham Asylum destruction by the Joker. He ends up losing like a leg and an arm in that. And so what we find out is he takes a deal with the magistrate guy and is like, yo, turn me into a cyborg. Let's do it. So he's going to be the new peacemaker.
That reveal was really cool when I can't remember Simon Saint, that's his name, the guy that's gonna form the magistrate. His assistant or whatever is pushing. What is that guy's name?
I don't remember.
He's pushing him in his wheelchair, and he's like, "Yeah, like what are you talking about, crazy? And the guy's like, oh, show him. So he takes off his shirt and he's got a whole bionic arm down to the wrist, and then the wrist looks like a normal hand. So he's just wearing a long sleeve shirt. You can't tell. And literally the look on his face is like, oh shit, yeah, I want
one of those.
And he's like, oh, I don't have that kind of money. And he's like, you don't need no money. Consider it a gift. And literally, the guy's like, yep, fuck yeah, yep, I'm gonna do it. He says, we're gonna call you Peacekeeper number 1.
And Saint's like, it's gonna be extremely painful. He's like, don't go fuck. I want robot
yeah.
RP.
He literally just doesn't hesitate.
Yeah. And so then after that, we jump into the Miracle Molly stuff, and we get an introduction to this character, and she is not a Harley Quinn. She is not a punchline.
No.
She is Miracle Molly, and she's scary. And the reason why I say that,
okay,
it's not because she's actually scary, but she has weight. I would say she's on par with Batman, psychologically, intellectually. And she's actually a step quicker than Batman.
Well, yeah. So we get a pretty, this part of the book is exposition heavy, but in the best way possible. Basically, we get a quick breakdown of Molly's origin and the origin, or sort of the origin and beginnings of the Unsanity, and that it's basically well, every time something new comes along, the first people that suggested maybe the Earth is round instead of flat were called insane, until society realized that they weren't, right? And then when someone suggested that maybe the Earth revolves around the sun instead of the sun around the Earth, those people were called insane. And so we're going to identify, we're the new people, and our ideas are so radical that you're going to call us insane, but we're not. And so our twist on that is that we're the Unsanity, which is a bad name because it's just hard to say that, but the principle makes sense. And what I really like is when I first heard about Unsanity in the other couple issues before this, I was like, but like I was like, oh, well, sure, like that kind of makes sense. You had the main guy talking on the TV and like what they were kind of about, and it's like, yeah, but like that's just a step for fascism. Like it's that's just a step for like one guy to control everything. And then Molly really breaks down like why it works for her, and she's doing it in their setting. Like she's at one point someone brings her some enhancement that she's working on for this little girl, and it's like, yeah, I can work on that for you. And she's of course like a tech genius, and so she's literally like working on this tech and talking to him, and it's like we are for people. It is very much like a social, economic, political stance that Tinian is making. So I could see how some people are turned off by this book, because some people might say, oh, well, Tinian's just making a political statement. And I really don't think he is. I think what he's doing is creating a antagonist person, Miracle Molly, and situation, the Unsanity, which makes you really just sit there and go, is this the bad guy? Like you were saying. Yeah. Because when Joker shows up, you don't say, well, who's the bad guy this issue? I genuinely think from here on, for at least a while, when Miracle Molly shows up, you're not just going to go, okay, now I see who the bad guy is this issue. Because, like, at this point, I don't see Miracle Molly as a bad guy at all. And she's not supposed to be. Like, it's, obviously the ideals of Batman and our main character are different than this collective. But, man, I don't know. It's just the way that this is set about, it's so much more intriguing when you have a clash between Batman and these real human people in situations that it's not just black and white. It's not an evil man murdering Gothamites. That can be cool sometimes too, but like at the end of the day, like Joker shows up, okay, we know he's gonna fucking poison everyone and kill them all, and everyone's gonna be on and like that's what's gonna happen. And right. Like with this Uninsanity, it's not just Miracle Molly. Like with the whole Uninsanity people showing up, we really don't know what's going to happen. We really don't know, like, are they going to be doing things that are unethical, or are they going to be doing things that are just pushing the norm? Because I really think it's going to be cool when we see Batman in a situation where the city is wanting him to stop something that maybe isn't necessarily wrong. It's just that they don't like it. Right. The mayor calling him up and saying, "Hey, this Uninsanity, their collective is getting too big, and we want them to move." And he's like, "Well, what crime are they committing?" And they're like, "Oh, they're
in the way.
They're loitering." You know, and it's like Batman's really going to have to, I think, make some hard decisions here in the future.
Yep. No, I agree with you. I think this was. I ended up reading this book, and at the end of it, I was like, "Fuck! Like this is so good." And Robbie kind of hit the nail on the head too on his review. Jimenez, bro.
Oh,
your fucking artwork is so good, dude. I'm reading is it Their Dark Designs or
yeah.
I'm reading that right now, and like I just got to the introduction of Punchline.
Mm-hmm.
The next issue is Jimenez, and I was like, oh yeah, like not that the other one was bad, but then and so like I started flipping through and be like, so which issues did he did? And it kind of jumps all over the place. It's like they were trying to figure out who they wanted to be the Batman artist, and knowing that I'm kind of time traveling in that sense that he ends up becoming the artist. Mm-hmm. Dude, his artwork just. If you're worried about the deposition in this book, the artwork carries it just as well. If it really hinders you, the artwork will help you. But the writing in it is just so fantastic, and then you have Jimenez's artwork on top of that. This thing was just a grand slam. It was so fucking good. And then I really enjoyed the Ghostmaker story in the back. I know some people aren't hot on it. Some people absolutely hate it. I think it's great. I want a Ghostmaker book. Like I want one right now. Gimme. But Tinian is just firing on all cylinders right now in this issue, and it upsets me because I'm not a Batman fan, and I'm becoming a Batman fan because of Tinian or Tinian. Yeah, go pick this up. Like,
yeah, I also want to say too that we focused a ton on the Miracle Molly stuff here, but the Peacemaker side story as well is really intriguing. It's I really like that they're using this guy that was from Infinite Frontier, and he was just like, man, that's an interesting character, and like I like that they're holding on to him and that they're doing something with him, and that we're still we've got a lot of pieces that are moving in this book. It's not just before this book, honestly, I thought the Unsanity. Whatever. Yeah. I thought they were like kind of the back burner thing that wasn't going to do much, and that it was really this peacekeeper thing that we needed to worry about. And while he is the main antagonist in the next issue, I really think ultimately when this entire run is said and done, it's going to be the Unsanity that's going to be the focal point of what's going on here.
For sure. So that is Batman 108, and I'm going to do it again because I like pushing this button. This is our...
That's the gas. Pick of the week.
Awesome. That is our first DC book. Next up we have The Crime Syndicate, number 3. I'm going to be really quick in this. They defeat the Starros in this book. The Crime Syndicate ends up becoming the team that they are always meant to be, and you find out that they're just assholes. They're really out for themselves. That's basically the premise of this book. It's just a good time. It's fun. And if you know the Crime Syndicate, then you're probably like, this story sucks because I already know all this shit. But if you don't know about the Crime Syndicate, it's just really fun because you don't. And it's just eye-opening. It's really weird to see Lex Luthor as a hero in this book, but he is. And it's really weird to see the heroes that being just straight up assholes. And the side story, or the backup story, is an origin story of Superwoman, who is Donna Troy, and it literally lines up she meets her, the guy on the island and blah, blah, blah. And instead of falling in love with him, she ends up killing him. And then her mom's like, oh, you're ready to go. You can go to the new world now. So this book is intense. I love it. I think the artwork is fun. I know some people don't like the artwork, but I like it. And it's probably because I just don't know the Crime Syndicate that well.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hayden says this comic makes me laugh. I love it. Yeah, it's just a good time. It's a silly goose time. It's just fun. It's just a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to the next issue. The Green Lanterns in this book they're called like Emerald Knights. It's really cool. Like it's just a fun book. It's really good. So I probably should have put this in our honorable mentions, but I am enjoying it. I kind of wish it would go past 6 issues. Who knows? I doubt it, but you never know. So,
I mean, it's already predetermined, right?
It is.
Okay.
Yep. Sad day. Anyway, after that, we've got Green Lantern number 2, even though it says number 1 on the cover.
Yeah, you should have put this cover up there instead.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about it, but let's be brief.
Boom.
There you go. Done. Next book. So our Lanterns, Oa has been accepted into the League of
United
Planets. And in doing so, they have to relinquish some of their authority amongst the universe via the bylaws of this new society.
some of their policing area, essentially.
So I'd say what 20% Guardians or something like that are reassigned. Either they're going to be on the main planet as security, they're going to go on quests, or they're going to go out into the depths of space to patrol. I don't really, basically. And
So-
the head, go for it.
I was just going to say, so basically, everyone that has a sector that gets closed down essentially has a reassignment of one of two things. One is that they're going to either protect like a Nexus world, which is like a planet that's just as extra important. I can't remember exactly the reference they say in here. Also, they give a really cool explanation of why we get so many damn lanterns from Earth and not other planets don't get them. One of the Guardians literally says, he's like, why do you think we have so many lanterns from Earth? You're a Nexus world. Like the Earth is like a central focal point of the universe, and so obviously that's why certain worlds like Earth are going to now have more Guardians assigned to them specifically, and then the rest of them are just getting assigned to quest. And we don't know what this quest is. And it turns out that there's an area of the galaxy or the universe that the Guardians can't see with their magical vision. And they don't know if things are good or bad out there. They don't know what's going on. And so they're telling who is it?
John Stewart.
John Stewart. Telling John Stewart that I learned all my lanterns at once, so all their names run together. I almost called him John Gardner. So yeah, John Stewart's being told, "Hey, you're going to go out and do this expedition," and he's like, "Yo, like,
Hold up, yeah.
what? I can't go out there by myself." And they're like, "What? Who said anything about yourself? Yeah. All these lanterns are going with you," and it's like this massive like flying in of all these lanterns. It's like. You're all going on this quest to the frontier of space where the Guardians can't see. And I was like, whoa, this is going to be cool. Like, I don't know. It just was like super spacey and like, yeah, we're going to go out to the big space field and
let's go.
Yay. And we have a little funeral for our Guardian friend that died the previous issue. And we're like, oh man, that's real sad. He's dead. Oh my God. Ah!
Boom.
And then, it blows up. And everyone
the power battery, the main lantern explodes.
Yes. So, Jaden, if you're still here, if you can see this character, I know it's going to be hard to see. If you know who this guy is, you maybe tell me who the hell this guy is. I don't know who he is, but he's like, "Oh yes, will die quickly. This is mercy, even though you don't know it." And like, we're basically seeing all of different areas watching the effects of Oa going kaboom. We even see Mongol and War World watching with he's like, oh yes,
awesome.
And then the best,
Oh God.
the greatest lantern of all time.
Sure.
So we see this perspective of someone flying in, trying to get information about what the hell's going on. They're finally returning to Oa from their mission, and they see just Oa in absolute destruction. They find little what is her name? Cruz? No.
The teenage lantern. Yeah, I don't know her name.
I don't remember her name. The teenage lantern down there crying over the guy that was Simon that was supposed to be watching her. And who is it? It's none other than Joe fucking Mulligan. So she's back and she's ready to take care of everything because she's the greatest. And if you keep giving me shit about it, I'm gonna punch you.
I'm not giving you shit about it. I just don't know if she can fix it.
So
the fucking battery blew up, dude. Like the world thing.
Her ring doesn't need a battery.
That's fine.
It's the only ring ever that doesn't need a battery.
But everybody else's does.
Yeah, that's why she's gonna save them all because no one else can do nothing about it.
All right. I'm not saying I'm not like I don't like the character. I'm not saying that.
I got it.
I
So
don't know what the hell's going on?
Some big shit's going down. It seems like I'm pretty sure it's like the third or fourth time Oa's blown up. So that does seem a little like, well, what's going on here? But as new Green Lantern fans and new readers, okay. Well,
yeah,
Oa's blown up. So
I literally called you. I was like, what the fuck just happened?
I hope this doesn't impede on the John Stewart's Frontier mission though, because I do want to see that story as well.
I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
So that is Green Lantern number 2. Is gone.
Bye.
Next up, or we'll go quick on these issues too. We got Suicide Squad number 3. Bolt somehow. So what happens is basically the Suicide Squad has been tasked to get Bolt because Bolt was she basically, the director of the Suicide Squad was able to get her out of her situation, and now she has to pay up. Essentially, she wants Bolt on the Suicide Squad, and Bolt's like, "Fuck you. I'm in the Teen Titan Academy. I'm gonna be a hero." No, and so she just makes she makes the Suicide Squad run in circles, and they don't catch her, and so they end up having to actually break into the Titan Tower, which is like a no-no. You can't do that. You're not supposed to do that, but they're gonna do it anyway. And before they break in, at the end of the issue, the person that's like, if you want to get in here, you're going to need my help. And who shows up? Red X. Red X is like, if you don't need to be listening to your director, you need to listen to me. And that's how the issue ends. And you're like, what? So that's how this issue ends. But Bolt, at the end of the issue, ends up not getting captured by the Suicide Squad. Overall, Jaden says, "Oh, I'm not sure who that is. I couldn't really see the guy in Green Lantern." It's fun. This is another one of those, like, it just doesn't feel like it has a lot of weight, but it's still fun to read. And so I'm glad that I'm reading Suicide Squad. I'm glad I'm reading Teen Titan Academy because they kind of coincide. And then they're going to kind of interweave into Shazam in July. So I'm excited for it. But I had a lot of fun with this. You throw Red X in there and I'm like, yep, you got me.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden says it looked like an orange lantern, but I couldn't tell. So
I didn't know there were orange lanterns. So there you go.
Yes, there are orange lanterns. There are blue lanterns. There's purple lanterns. There's black lanterns, and then there's a white lantern, and there's a green lantern.
Yes.
And a red lantern. Did I say red? Anyway, that's Suicide Squad number 3. I enjoyed it. It's just a fun, easy read. After that, we have Swamp Thing number 3. This has got a little something for everybody. New readers, old readers. Basically, we've got our new Swamp Thing just really trying to come to terms with who he is, and he's finding out who he is within the green. And he ends up sucking his friend into the green with him.
That was almost dangerous. You paused there a little too long.
I'm okay. Anyway, and then we get he ends up trying to save his friend within the green, and he runs into what looks like Poison Ivy.
So it looks like this is like Poison Ivy split into 2 personalities,
right? Like
because the other one the nice one only identifies herself as Ivy, and then the other one's mean and kind of
Poisonous. Ooh.
So I think this is like Poison Ivy with like bipolar disorder or something.
Jeez. Well, yeah. So that's what this issue is Swamp Thing trying to find his friend, and also realizing that the green is being contaminated. It's under attack, and the friend I think is picked up by another it's not a Swamp Thing, but another being of the green that saves his friend. I think her name is Jennifer. At one point there's a standoff with Poison and Eve, and it's looking like the Swamp Thing is gonna die, and then Eve actually saves Swamp Thing.
Ivy.
I'm sorry. What did I say?
Eve.
That's just, oh my gosh, so many names. Anyway, he ends up not dying, and before it looks like it's about to go down, the original avatar, I think, of Swamp Thing shows up. I think that's who it is, and says, "Hey, you have a lot to learn, and I need to teach you all the shit because the green is dying." Yeah. And so that's how this issue ends. I'm for it. I think this is a great story. Again, I have had no interest in Swamp Thing, and this book has hooked me. Yeah,
I agree. And the art in this book is fantastic. It's really good. It's really dark, but it's also like, I was gonna say vibrant, but like really detailed. Like it's dark and stuff, but it's still really like gives you a lot of contrast. When I say dark, I mean like literally the dark palettes, like dark colors. Like there's not a lot of bright. Like it is also kind of like dark, but it's just a lot of purples and deep reds and fire. Even when you get bright colors, it's in the contrast of like burning. Also, your vocab word for the day, because I had to look it up because I never heard this word in my life. Amaranthine is basically an undying plant.
Gotcha.
Makes sense. I was like, my green amaranthine. What the hell does that? I literally, I stopped the book, I closed it. I was like, amaranthine. What is that? Yeah. It's basically an undying plant.
Gotcha. Jaden says, "Does Swamp Thing even like Poison Ivy?" Doesn't seem like it. It did.
Well, he likes Ivy. Him and Ivy are fine, but Poison.
Poison,
or the Queen. The Queen is what she's referred to.
So this could be a key. It could not. We don't know. It's probably not. But overall, I'm enjoying Swamp Thing. I thought it was a fun issue. I want more. I know this is a miniseries.
10 issues, I think.
Yeah, 10 issues. Rambi is killing
what
it.
I wanted Man Thing to be.
Yeah, and it wasn't. Yeah, you're right. Totally right on that one. All right, done with our DCs and on to our independents. We've got Noctera number 3. You got multiple covers. Break it down, Nate.
Look at this one.
That's a good one. I like that one a lot.
This is basically a giant chase scene, and it's awesome. So we are hightailing it out of the safe place from the previous issue, and we're trying to get away. And she uses the neon, which I thought was so cool. The big giant neon sign. It's like a giant bomb to try to deter them, but of course that doesn't work. And so
it's the all black guy, right?
Yeah, the all black guy, the shadow guy. And as they're running, the old man realizes, he just wants me. Like the girl's collateral damage, everyone else is collateral, but he really wants me. And so he hands his granddaughter his like book and is like, find my brother and tell him these words. And she's like, no, don't do it. And he's like, I'm doing it. And so he opens the door. He starts shooting a gun at this car that literally just drove through a massive explosion. He's like, my 9mm is totally gonna get it. So then he takes a grapple hook through the chest for the stomach.
Yep.
Like literally full on. They shoot a grapple. It goes through his body, hooks into his back, and then they pull him out of the truck.
Yep.
And then right before the girl's about to get grappled in the head, our main character tackles her and saves the day. And so everything's great. But then we get a couple of little lines of dialogue between the all shadowy guy and the old man, and he says, "Oh, well, I gave her the fake journal. This is the real one. Like, please don't pursue them. They're fine." He also was like, "Yeah, just kill me. Like, sorry, blah blah blah." And I really like his
intense.
his verbiage. He says, "Oh, I'm not gonna kill you, Doc." He says, "I'm gonna keep you harpooned up there until you shade out." And I was like, "Oh, like that's oh."
Yeah, and then I'm gonna sick you on your granddaughter.
And then he says, "I forgot about that." He says, "Yeah, then I'm gonna let you kill her." And I was like, "Oh my,
damn, son."
But what is the other thing that he says? We find out that this guy directly has something to do with what happened to this Shadow Man. He says, listen to me, Bill, what they did to you." And he's like, no, I've listened to you already about this. Like we're not going to go there, essentially.
It's futile.
So we get a little bit. Oh, thank you.
Oh, you got a sweet treat?
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
what?
I got a sweet treat.
Nate got a sweet treat and I didn't?
Yeah.
Pissed.
Sorry, dude. So then we go to a safe place. They run and they get away, and we go to a safe place. This place in Utah where there's a bunch of handprints on the walls that are all illuminated, and yay, it looks cool. Also, the girl is presented. This is the one they really got irritated about. Tell me if you noticed this.
Okay.
Did it seem like the girl just all of a sudden like doubled her age between panels?
Yes.
Like, she seems like she talks like a small child, like 6 or 7, and you really only see her sitting in the back of the truck. And then now we see her in this panel, and you're like, oh wait, no, she's 14.
Yeah.
And she's talking, and she's talking like she's a teenager, and it's like,
what happened there? Yep.
Wait, what? And so I did get a little burned out by that. I was a little frustrated by that. But basically, we also find out why Emery got exposed. He was trying to essentially illuminate a patch of grass with like actual radiated light, like real true like sunlight, basically. So it would make a little tiny patch of grass grow so that it would make everyone in the commune happy. And him doing this nice little gesture is what got him exposed, because when he went out there and he was in the dark, he thought this was going to provide light, and it like backfired on him in some way. Now the part I left out on purpose because I thought I would just combine the two at the very beginning. This is what made this book almost my pick of the week, because I love the glimpses that we get of directly after it goes dark. Like I almost find myself more intrigued. We get these stories that are in the setting, right? Like it's in the it's been years and years since the darkness has happened. I almost find myself more intrigued about the direct result, about how people handle it as it's happening.
Right.
So we're, like day 2, day 3. So the first few pages of this issue are that. It's just been a week or so of the darkness, and Emery and his sister are watching the news, and they're talking. It's a journalist basically interviewing a doctor, and it's like, well, do we know what's going on? Like, do we have any hope or any any explanation of like what's going on here? And he's basically like, yeah, no, once the darkness seems to affect humans way more than any other animal. Like, it totally changes us biologically and DNA, and like we totally become something new. And he was like, what we're doing now is just the beginning. And he says the one thing that we know for sure is once the eye change, the iris turns yellow and the pupil distorts, there is no way back in big bold black letters. And they even show
this.
And they even show the eye looks like basically the iris is a star, and it's like yellow and red. And he says, scans show that the brain itself has changed, especially around the language center, but that they can still communicate. And it's at that time we hear knock, knock, knock. And it's the door to the basement, and it's the parents saying, hey, like, we're feeling better now, like everything's okay. And they're like, well, they told us you'd say that and that y'all are bad and gonna hurt us. Like, no, sweetie, no,
would never hurt you.
We would never do that. We feel good now. Like we're okay. And of course, the girl's not buying it. She's like, no, don't open the door. And he's like, yeah. Emery's like, yeah, I want to open the door. And then he goes to open the door, and then you look down into the basement, and you just see 2 pair of glowing red, yellow eyes looking up. And so the parents are changing. I read that. I was like,
yeah,
it's creepy. So of course, the final page of this book, we see poor Emery lying on the ground in the cave, getting ready to go to sleep. And his sister comes over and pats him and says, I love you. And he just says, I love you too. And then opens his eyes. They're all fucking red and yellow. So he gone. I honestly, for some reason, I thought he'd make it. I don't know why
I did too.
But
I did too.
Unless there, he's going to be the first that makes it past this point.
Yeah.
But like, to me, this is how you keep a serialized story going and still like, oh, now I want the next one. Oh, now I want the next one. And so far with the first 3 issues, Scott Snyder's done a really good job of doing that. Of each issue, it's like, oh, I need to know what's right now. Like, what is that? So this was my number 3 pick. Number 3. It was.
I would agree. I would agree with that assessment. It was really good, and I cannot wait for issue 4.
Yeah. If you haven't picked up this series yet, I would definitely jump on it.
Yes.
What was the one thing I was going to say about it? I don't remember. So never mind.
All right. Must have been not that important. All right. Next up, we have ENIAC number 3. Yes. Number 3 from
3
Matt
of
Kent.
4.
And yeah, dude. ENIAC's a piece of shit. and I'm not saying that the book's bad. What I'm saying is that robot fucking sucks. That computer sucks.
Yeah.
This book is a psychological thriller. It's sci-fi, which is really it's sci-fi. It is. It's not, but it is. And it's clever, dude. Like, Matt is killing it in this book. He's just I finished it and I was like, bro, this is gonna be a movie. I hope this is a movie. It's so good. And then I don't want to give it away. I really don't. I want to give a decent review of this book, but I don't want to give too much away. But just know that ENIAC in this book knows everything. You're not going to outsmart ENIAC, or at least it's going to have that perception. At least it's going to implant that idea in your mind that ENIAC is smarter than you and he's 15 to 20 steps ahead of you. Yep. And you're not going to win. And so that's what this book does. And you've got our 2 heroines in this book who think that they can do it. They think they've got a grip on it. And by the end of the book, it's like, y'all don't know jack shit. You don't know what's going to happen.
What I found disorienting was that we've got 2 new characters.
Which ones?
The main ones.
They're new? What do you mean they're new?
What do you mean?
New.
I mean, they're new.
What do you mean? The 2 ladies? The 2 soldiers?
Yeah.
How are they new?
Those aren't the same people.
Yeah, they are.
No.
Yeah.
They're significantly younger.
Oh, that must be a stylistic thing. They're the same soldiers. They're the same soldiers.
I don't think so, but go ahead. Keep going.
I don't know why you would think that. They're the same ones from issues 1 and 2. They were the ones recruited by the general. Okay. Anyway, they're able to. What we find out is one of them, their mother, she was part of the. Oh man, I got to start over. What Matt does in this book is basically he ties in actual historical events and warps them to make it look like ENIAC had a hand in that disaster or that historical event. So, Space Shuttle Challenger. That book blew up. All right, Nate's gonna go get his other book to prove me wrong. Anyway, we thought that was just a mission to go to the space station. Well, in this version of history, it was actually a way to get into space because ENIAC wasn't in space, and ENIAC actually he was able to get in a flaw into the Challenger's built like design, so that when it launched, it actually blew up, and it wasn't, and no one realized it until it happened, and they looked back at the blueprints, and one of these soldiers' moms was with the scientist that built it, the engineer, and she realized it too late. She went back and looked at the blueprints. It was like, holy shit, ENIAC was able to basically put this design flaw without us even fucking noticing it, so we can't get into space and stop ENIAC from space. And so ruins her career, and she ends up going insane, thinking that ENIAC is actually like a psychic and is able to like talk to you without technology. So she ends up being part of the equation to killing ENIAC. So the two soldiers have to go see her mom to find out, you know, how to basically get the code that they got from the previous guy in the second issue, how to apply it. And what she has is a box, right? A box that you can thread the binary code into to actually detonate ENIAC. Go ahead, Nate.
No, I was just going to say I'm a complete idiot, and I was totally wrong, and I can't add anything to this book because I was clearly so confused.
Anyway.
God.
I told you so. Anyway, so...
Literally the last book is with like, no, it's my mom. They're talking about my mom. He's fucking with us. And then this issue opens up with the mom.
The mom.
How the fuck did I miss that?
Anyway, they get the box in order to decode the virus, but the mom's like, leave me alone, never talk to me again, I'm insane. And so the team recruits some more soldiers. They strip them naked, take all their electronics away, and like, you have no identity. Stop looking at your dicks, basically. And they get ready to go on this mission, and they go to like the hottest place on Earth is where ENIAC is supposed to be, because like he can regulate his temperature there and all that jazz. And so when they get into the base, well, before they get into the base, there's this like massive sinkhole, and right as they come up on it, this giant robot statue, very simplistic looking thing, is just standing there. And one of the soldiers is like, is this supposed to be like the security? Like, there's no way. And he goes up to it and he's about to shoot it, and the thing's like, zwing, slice, it just slices the dude in half. Like, and they're like, fuck, and they just start shooting at it. They break it down, and they're like, all right, we gotta go.
Damn
and
it,
when
Jaden, don't laugh at me.
And so when this happens, the girl that with her mom, she ends up like blacking out, and so the other soldier's like, are you okay? And her eyes,
they're all
they're
black.
like shaded out black, and you're like, do you have a computer chip in your brain? Like, what's going on here? Like, are you gonna fuck with this fucking mission? We don't know yet. And so they go down the hole, and when they go down the hole, there are multiple hallways, and each hallway is specifically designed for each soldier, right? And it's like memories for the soldiers, so that they'll wig out. And so ENIAC has known that these people are going to show up, 20, 15, however many long years before. And so the comic ends with the two soldiers showing up to a front door, and I can't remember what it says. It's like there's two doors, and there's one door.
It says, welcome, Falk and Fletcher. Insert cord rope. Memory here.
So it's literally telling them to put in the binary virus into a door. And that's how the issue ends.
Yeah. Like,
and
the whole time.
I'm sitting there going like, is it a bluff? Is ENIAC saying, well, because I know that this is how it works, your mind is going to play tricks on you and you're not going to put the code in. And so I'm openly putting the solution right in front of you, knowing that you probably won't do it because you think it's a trap.
That's literally what they say at the end. She says, he knows we have the virus. He's been expecting it. Do we feed it to him? Or is that exactly what he wants us to do?
Bum, bum, bum. So that's how the issue ends. And I was just like, dude, Matt, you're killing it, bro. Like,
yep.
I'm enjoying this. I did not get confused. I knew that these were the right characters.
I got so confused. I also thought the white girl was a guy for a while. I must have been really tired when I read this.
You had a long week at work. In your defense, you were late shift a lot, so I'll give you a break.
Also, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say also for Jaden, this is that same book company that's doing the badass back covers too. This one is exceptionally awesome.
It's
not quite as good as the Tankers one, but it's really cool.
Tankers one was fucking sick, dude. I'd put that on a shirt easily. You know, if you have access to bad idea comic books, pick them up.
Yes,
pick them up. Matt, I don't want to say your last name wrong, and I keep on just saying Matt.
Kent.
Matt Kent is killing it. Fantastic work. He's just it's a phenomenal story. It's a really good story, and if you have the opportunity and the books are in your area, pick them up. This is so awesome. And then the premium format of these books are just so good. Like, they feel good in your hands. They feel good to read. Man, I want to send these in for grading. Like,
honestly, it also makes me question the price points for Marvel and DC, because if Bad Idea, a brand new startup comic company, can present comics in this premium format at $3.99, why the hell can DC and Marvel not either do that, or with the shitty paper be at a $2.99 price point like they were 5 years ago?
That's the question of the day, Nate.
I'm just curious.
You know the answer. Anyway,
yeah,
that is ENIAC number 3. If you have access to Bad Idea books, please go pick them up. Support this. Support Matt. Support Bad Idea. Support your LCS. This is an awesome movement in the books, and it's just fun to read something that just it can go anywhere and is not bound by rules. So that's Bad Idea number 3. Next up, speaking of Matt, we got Whalesville,
and
it doesn't have it on this. What is the other one?
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Minerals.
Rocks and Minerals. So this is a thick, almost trade-like book. Got two stories in it.
It's literally a trade. It's a $9.99 cover. I actually wish they had just put a spine on it, like an actual
yeah.
You know what I mean, like with the names and stuff. I wish they had done that so I could just slide this on the shelf.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
this was a fun one. This one was a little out of left field, I think. Wasn't expecting it, but I liked it.
I really liked these stories. So I read them and I liked them. I actually read them this morning. And then I got in the car, and usually I listen to podcasts in the car, and I didn't. I just put on some music, and that gave me the ability to not pay attention to a podcast. And I just sort of kind of was thinking while I was getting oil changed and shit. And I was like, it just kept growing on me more and more. Even though there's two different stories here, thematically, they're both, I would say, pretty much telling the same story.
Right.
The first one is, Whalesville is basically we have some characters. We've got a crab, we've got a fish, we've got a pelican bird, and then we've got like a seahorse looking seaweed thing. And they've built their own city in this place. You don't know where it is. I mean, obviously you could assume it's inside the whale, but we'll get there. I mean, it's very obvious it's inside the whale. You know it the whole time. But all of a sudden something splashes down outside of their city, and they're like, oh, what is this? And turns out it's a human boy, way bigger than them. And he starts kind of stumbling around and is kind of knocking over their city, and they're like, hey, what the hell? Look out. And he's like super disoriented, and is just like, I don't understand where I am, like what's going on. They offer him some food and some hospitality, and they're nice, and he's like, well, what else is out there? Like, what else is going on? Like, what else you got besides the city? And they're like, nothing. Like, it's just the great ocean and then the circle in the sky, and like that's life. That's the world.
It.
That's it. That's what we got. That's the world. What do you mean? What else? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know about all that. And basically, I mean, pretty soon he looks at them and is like, wait, I remember birds. Like, I remember birds like you. And like, there's birds out there. And he's like, I remember crabs. There's crabs out there, and fish and all these things. And he's like, you don't have to be trapped here. There's an entire world out there to explore. And then they all just like bust out and start laughing at him. I'm just like, oh, this
Crazy
guy, this new guy. Like, everybody shows up here from the great unknown and thinks that they know everything. But, I'm like, no, there's nothing else out there. And then all of a sudden, a harpoon comes, thunk, covered in blood. And they're like, what is that? And he's like, oh, that thing, that means the end of your world. And then all of his memories sort of comes rushing back, and he remembers what happened to him. He is out on a fishing boat with his dad, and a big wave knocks him off the boat, and the whale comes by and just swallows him whole.
Him whole.
He basically is like, like, listen, guys, like, we got to get out of here. Like, let's get this harpoon out, and like, I got to get out so my dad doesn't kill this whale, and your life is gonna end, basically. He's like, I got to get out on this boat. And they're like, okay, but we're gonna stay here.
Yeah, fun with that. Yeah,
we like it here. We're gonna stay here. We don't really believe you, so we're gonna just stay here. And so the kid goes out into the water, and the water picks him up, and as the whale's blowing out his blowhole, he gets blown out, and he gets back on the ship with his dad, and he's all happy to see him, and his dad is about to blow the whale again. And he's like, no, it's okay, Pa. Like,
blow the whale.
Blow him away.
Blow him away. Okay, there we go.
and then the whale goes away, and everybody's happy. And bye-bye.
The end.
Now, you get halfway through the story, and you're like, "Oh, I get what we're doing." Like,
yeah.
Okay, this is like but this is a fun little. I almost can imagine that you could read this story to like a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old or something, and like, it's very much like the point is there's other things out there, right? Like,
yeah,
get out of your shell. Like, your frame of reference isn't all that there is, and that there's more to explore.
Right.
And that's basically what Rocks and Minerals is as well.
Just a different format.
It's literally the characters are rocks and minerals.
Yeah.
And they're going out to the unpolished zone where they're not supposed to be. A couple of friends find a turtle out there and decide that they want the turtle to live. They go and they tell the queen because they think the queen's going to help. The queen's a diamond who gets polished all the time. And they're like, yeah, like, we want to save him. And she's like, yeah, we'll totally save him, and send some baddies with them. They've got a like a little dog looking thing, and it turns out it's Flint, and it blows fire out of its mouth. Get it? And it turns out that the queen just sent them out there to kill whatever that thing is, and so
something different, kill it.
And so, yeah, exactly. I mean, literally,
yeah,
something different, kill it. And so they
sounds familiar.
They run away. They run away with the turtle. At one point, they come across the one rock's granny's friends that they used to know before they weren't allowed to explore the unpolished zone, and they help them make it to the pond. They get the turtle to the pond. Turtle gets to be with all the other little turtles, and she gets to lay her eggs, and everybody is super happy. And the other rocks learn that there's another world out there besides theirs, that the queen is essentially hindering them from learning about the bigger, greater world out there because she wants to just control everything within this community.
Cue the Aladdin, A Whole New World song, Magic Carpet Ride, Jasmine sees it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say that there's anything groundbreaking about this issue.
Yeah.
But I thought the art was good. The art was fun. The storytelling was fun. I just think it's funny. Like, oh yeah, we had like a bunch of rocks. Like, it was a very unconventional way to tell a very conventional story.
Correct. And yeah, and that was yet again, bad idea had a good idea.
Yeah. There you go.
Pick it up if you can. That's all we're going to say.
Ooh, I think it's slammed.
Yeah. Next up, from Boom Studios, a new #1, we have Eve. We're telling a lot of stories about, I think we'll be quick with this one, but essentially this book was written to emphasize climate change. and that, I mean, if you read the back end of the book, that's essentially what the authors said, is that they have a daughter now, and they're like, "Fuck, man, we need to fix this world because when they grow up, they might not have one. You know, they may not have a blue sky. They may not have, a sandy beach. They may just have ocean." And so this is what this book is essentially. It's you've got Eve here who at the beginning of the book is with her father, and her father's like prepping her for something and she doesn't get it. And then she ends up waking up in like a fucking sleep chamber. And it's been many years, and this robotic teddy bear is telling her, hey, welcome to the apocalypse. You just woke up in time to try to save the world, even though it might be too late. Yep. And she's coming to terms with the fact that she woke up. She thought she was in a one world, and she ends up finding out that she was in his dreamscape, and she's the only one that can save the world. And her companion teddy bear is like this robot that can like shapeshift, and I think we're gonna get some cool shit out of this bear. I know I'm being very quick on this book, but I liked it. I thought it was really fun. I was not expecting it. I wasn't expecting the story in this book. But it was a fun. It's another one of these books that I think you could hold up to for your adolescents later on when they grow up. But it's kind of raw too. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I think that this book will probably mature a little bit as it goes.
Yeah.
This specifically isn't a. Now I can't think of what the kids line for Boom is called.
Kaboom.
Kaboom. This isn't a Kaboom book, so
no.
I think that maybe like thematically it will get more adult as we go on.
Yeah.
But this very much had, again, like I said way earlier in the show, like a Matrix-y vibe, where you have the perception that things are going to be one way and that they're going to be another, or that they are in a different way. I just think it's hilarious that like her companion is this anthropomorphic teddy bear. I think he's going to be pretty funny as we go. And we've said this a lot this issue or this episode, but the art in this is really good.
It is.
I thought this was at first. I thought this was. I had to look up his name, but I thought this was the artist from Seven Secrets, Daniel DeNiculo.
Oh yeah.
It's not. Obviously, we got the artist here, but like I looked at it, I was like, man, this art looks very familiar. Joe does a really good job. She transitions like the way that she presents our character during the first part where she thinks she's on the island, and then the part where she like wakes up from her pod. It looks like a different style,
right?
Which jars you into the reality, which I thought was really good stylistically.
For sure.
It was a fun book. I'll pick up the second issue.
Yeah, and again, we say it all the time. If it's a Boom #1, pick it up, because the chance of it being speculation to become a movie or TV show is fairly high. Jaden says they made a shape-shifting robot, but the world is ending. Yeah.
I don't think he shape shifts. I think he's just a
robot, but he can present himself in different I don't know how to explain it. Like, if there's something high up, he can extend up to get it. If
right.
He's going to be a tool for Eve to use to navigate the world. And then on top of that, he's just kind of an ass a little bit. Like he's like, you need to grow up here. Hurry up. It's the end of the world. That's kind of how he's perceived in the book.
Yeah.
So that is Eve #1. You got anything else?
I was just also going to say that I'm always interested in when writers that aren't comic book writers sort of come into comic books. I like to see their style a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Victor LaValle's work personally, but I know that he's written, done a lot of like journal work and stuff like that before.
Gotcha. So, interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So after that, we're going to round the show off with another Boom book, and that is Wind #6. I'll be quick on this one as well. So we're a bit on a bit of a hiatus. We're back. We get a little bit more of an origin for Wind and how he came to be in Pipetown. I think we're getting ready to really find out who his real parents are in this book. We're definitely getting a lot of foreshadow in this book about that. Why he has wings, why he's a being of magic. And we also get more character development with the prince from the Pipetown who ended up escaping because he doesn't want to be prince. We also get more origin of the species that the Bandage Man is, what species he is from. We get a neighboring country coming to help Pipetown try to track the prince down. and they're like these trolls, and so they're wanting they want something in return for going out and finding the sun, and the king is like, fucking kill his entire party, just bring me back my son. It's like, damn, dude. And then we get, again, like I said, we get some character development with Wind. He's starting to, learn more about his world outside of Pipetown. He's kind of been living a sheltered life. And he's realizing that he should surround himself with more people than just, his favorite people. And, Wind is growing up in front of our eyes in this book. He's an adolescent. And so he's learning about other relationships and how, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to people and relationships, whether that be genuinely just friendships or romantically. There are other fish in the sea, as you would say. And so we learn, that Wind is he has to navigate through this world now. And so, what they end up doing is he ends up flying the prince over to another ship where his cousin is at, who presumably will take over his reign in the country that he's fleeing from, because he's abdicating his position. He doesn't want to be prince, and so his cousin might end up becoming prince. But they've got to catch up. And so while all this is happening, they're on a boat. The issue ends with going underwater, and our troll friends who are in Pipetown saying, we'll do this for you, are in submarines getting ready to launch missiles at the boats. So it was all hunky-dory and cute, and then at the end it was like, everyone's about to die. I've said this before, James Tynion has such a wide range of writing. We've got Batman, where it's just like super intense, and we're talking about these socio-economical issues and politics and just all over the place, right? But then you have Wind, and you're dealing with just general growing up as an adolescent, an outsider in magic, and also, this is an LGBTQ book as well. So you're mixing both of these worlds in, and so Tynion is just, he's all over the place, man. And it's a good thing, because it shows his range, and it shows what he can actually do with multiple titles and not get conflicted. The artwork in this book is really fun. It's not anime, but it's like an American style anime, I would say. Colorful, vibrant, and it's got me hooked, man. Like again, the first two issues I was like, where's this going? And then it finally ramped up, and like I care about these characters, and Tynion does a really good job of doing that. So I would highly recommend picking up the trade of Wind. I think Nate picked it up last week. You can get
hardcover.
Yeah, you can get caught up, and then start. If this is your cup of tea, I would definitely pick it up. I mean, issues 4 and 5, there was like a all-out mini war going on. I was like, dude, this is getting intense. So I think we're going to continue that storytelling of like Wind growing up as a teenager, but also this like this lore of this land that they're in. It's just it's really fun. I'm glad I'm picking it up.
Nice.
So that is Wind.
I need to get caught up.
Do it. All right. That ends our show. We did 23 books. Whew. Hey, man, it's not too off. We're doing good. No. 2 hours, 27 minutes. Next week looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure to stick around. Wednesday we'll have a comic book haul video for that week, May 12th. So stick around for that. Make sure to sub and subscribe, or not sub and subscribe. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell, give us a like, comment on these videos. We need it all. We're trying to give away this slab, and then we're trying to give away 2 more slabs when we hit 500 and 1,000. We're going to do it. We're putting it in our mind's eye. We're going to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. God damn it. We're going to do it. And then we're going to give away 2 books that Nate doesn't want me to give away, but we're going to do it because we said we're going to do it. But Jaden, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for talking. Everybody else that's here, thanks for giving your eyeballs. Listen to us geek out, talk about comics. And as always, please, please, please go read some more comics. Talk to you guys later.